Well, the main show is about a 10-minute video put together by Jane and Segi Sigaran. He's from Sri Lanka, and I believe they met there, and they are in York, England, and they were able to attend live on Saturday because it was a reasonable hour for them at that time. 10 in the morning here was about supper time for them, but right now it's about 2 or 3 in the morning there, so we're exempting them from attending, but they're graciously letting me show the video they put together about haybox cooking, and how can you make your own, kind of the principles behind it, advantages of it. I mean, it's one of those things where everyone should have them, even if you don't have a solar cooker. I mean, when we have a cloudy day and we cook on our induction cooker, which saves us a boatload of energy on its own, we like to bring something to a boil for a few minutes and then put it in the Wonder Bag, just to as the skin flint, to save pennies on the electricity that thing already saved us. Um, some of that electricity, of course, is still coming from fairly dirty electrical plants, so we feel a lot better when we can take it off the stove and put it into the Wonder Bag. Hello.
All
Well, we have
right, got it going.
yeah. I think last time we just did a couple minutes introductions before I did the video, and if that's okay, we'll get that underway, and I'll do it in the order that I see people clockwise on my screen. And Dave Henry, you're up. Tell us what you're doing with solar cooking at all, and anything DIY, which I know you are.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm from Connecticut. We do have one of those sport cookers, and we use that quite a bit. And I'm in the process of developing a cooker that I've made. It's a parabolic trough, um, a combination parabolic trough box cooker type cooker. And I've
Great.
had a lot of fun with it. And now I'm working on getting it to track. So I've got the mechanism for tracking, and I just have to do the motor part.
Wow. We'll have to do a follow-up Zoom on that. I have our Zoom call, like a lot of my Zoom calls one-on-one with people, they go a lot longer than I expect because I'm always fascinated with what's going on. So I don't want to do the, you know, cut us off thing. So, but we did have a few glitches there, and I'm trying to edit it. And then thanks for the videos that you did send that I can include in that. So, but that said, if you're how soon do you suppose you might have the tracker kind of ready to experiment with?
Yeah, the mechanical part is all set, so I'm just waiting for the sun to come up over the tree line.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Where
that's what my problem is now. I can't wait to go, but it's just my neighbor's trees.
oh yeah. No, that's join the club. We're in the variety weather belt. Okay, well, to my other side here on the top of the screen, Andy Lentz, I believe from Washington State.
Yeah. I got started in solar cooking about 12 years ago. And at that time, I was living in Sparks, Nevada, where we have every day
Really?
is a sunny day, summer and winter. And my first attempt was to build a box oven, but the temperature I achieved, I wasn't really satisfied with it. So I purchased a satellite dish. I figured I'll try that. And it was very difficult to handle the dish, and it was very difficult to uh, locate the pot that you're cooking the food in, and also the dish had to be turned. I don't know, every 10, 15 minutes in order to keep the focus on the pot, and also that if it's focused too much, it would burn the food. So I did not pursue that anymore. Then I thought, well, why don't I combine a satellite dish design with a box cooker? So I made a 8-sided reflector um, that was about 24 inches by 24 inches, and I put a plexiglass cover on it when I was cooking. and I was able to achieve 260 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I moved to Seattle here about 9 years ago, and the weather's not the greatest for cooking outside. So I thought, well, I'll make one more attempt, and I built a parabolic reflector that has 16 panels in it, and I had a focus of, I think, right 6 inches, and I designed where the pot would fit, and I was also able to rotate the reflector because I designed a sun tracker when I was living in Sparks, and it would rotate the. I could leave the reflector alone for the full duration of the cooking, and the tracker would follow the sun, and it would move it automatically. It was literally hands off, and and the cooking here really, my season last year when I tried out my parabolic reflector, I was able to start using it in April because I kept watching the sun, and okay, the sun came out for an hour, but that's not enough. So my experiment started in April, and I was able to achieve 360 degrees Fahrenheit. So the foods that I cooked, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. So that's
Great,
it.
thanks. Yeah, and that was I'm talked to so many people visiting them. I forget how long ago it was. Was that this last about a year ago, or I'm trying to remember when I was in Seattle. But anyway, for everyone that has logged in here, my visit with Andy is on my channel, and 3 or 4 projects that were really fascinating and instructive. Put together all just from ideas that Andy had assembled to get cooking going, and the water pasteurization thing with the basically the bowl in the ground. That's something that I think should spread, far and wide because it's such a necessary thing. Okay, next on my screen, Tommy down in Austin.
Oh, good evening. Um, I don't know. I was thinking, I think I built a little cardboard box cooker back when I was about 8 years old, which is 50 some years ago. And it worked, it got warm in there, but I remember I think I made some humongous pot. I was going to make like sloppy joes or something, and it was way, way too big of a pot for my little box. And anyway, it was my first trial, and then I think it got left out in the rain, so then that was that. Um, and then there was quite a gap, but then I started. I don't remember how I got going back in it right now. I can't remember, but anyway, um, it's turned into kind of a any solar for me has kind of turned into a true addiction. I have to say, it's kind of like you find out a little bit more, you try a little bit more, and I want to learn a little bit more or try a different cooker, or, so that's kind of where I'm at. Um, Luther is on me a lot about. I have a fiber mill, a wool and fiber processing mill. So Luther has really kind of been putting the pressure on me to continue on of using wool for insulation in a box cooker, that type of thing. So I've been kind of mind grinding about, what would be a good way, and maybe try felting, different kinds of things, different experiments in that. So that's where I'm at right now. I use a Simplicity, Heinz, a homemade one from Mateo. What's his last name, Luther?
Oh, Muccioli.
Yes, thank you.
Muccioli. Yes.
And let's see the windshield visor one that Wade Steen gave me the prints for. And it seems like there's a couple others, but I can't remember them right now. So that's where my projects are at right now.
Sure. And Tom and Wade Steen and Copper Harding and Rich Hodson in Oakdale. It's mostly the five of us that post now and again. On the I'm sorry, on the Minnesota group. I should have mentioned that we have our own tight knit group where we suffer through months of clouds and freezing temperatures, but we'll post stuff that we've cooked in snowbanks and sub-zero weather and so forth. So we gotta hang together, right?
That's
Go ahead.
one of
I'm
my
sorry.
favorite things is in the wintertime here when we do have all that snow and it's so bright. And if I pull that simplicity out, it's amazing. Like we do pizzas and all kinds of stuff on that. It's just I do like doing it. I know last year I think it was like 19 degrees below zero, and I did a pizza because it was so bright and with the snow, it works very good. So, but yeah, we had a lot of clouds in November and December this year, so looking forward to and January, I guess too. Yeah, so looking forward to some more good cooking days coming up.
Yeah. All right. Next, right in the middle of my screen is Craig Berglund in Reno.
So I've been working on two projects I can think of right away. The first is I bought one of those fairly inexpensive 5-foot parabolics you see on online. It was like $90 delivered, something like that. I'm very pleased with it so far. Right now, it's my favorite cooker because it will do not only cooking, but I make charcoal with it. I've done French fried potatoes with it very easily. I can start charcoal briquettes with it in just 10 seconds or so without having to use starter fluid. It lets me cook during cloudy days because it gets so hot so quickly. I can take a blackened pressure cooker and get it up to steam in about 20 minutes. I think if I'm remember right. And once it's up to steam, I can plop it in a little hot box, and it will keep steam up for 45 minutes, often close to an hour. The cool thing about that is when it starts to lose steam, you just plop it back on the cooker, and it just takes just a few minutes to get it right back up to steam. So it allows you to use this cooker multiply, if that's the right word. In other words, you get one thing going, you can set that aside in a heat box, and you can start doing something else. So I like it because it's on wheels. It's fairly lightweight. It's a kit. You have to put it together. But for the price and the things it will do, it's one of my very favorite cookers right now. The second thing I'm doing is I'm working on a new coffee roaster. Luther, you may have seen it. It's a evacuated heat tube in a trough, a parabolic trough. It fits inside of a milk crate. And I just had it out a couple of days ago. I've made several batches of roasting green beans. It does it fairly quickly. I can roast a week's worth of coffee in about 10 minutes, which is not huge amounts, but it's interesting because it gives me a mixed variety of beans. And I joined a Facebook coffee roasters group, a couple of them actually. And these people are talking about, well, you don't want to roast your beans too darkly, and we like lighter beans, and we never drink milk and sugar with coffee. Well, I like milk and sugar with coffee. My dad used to take me fishing when I was about 6, and he'd make a big thermos of coffee with sugar and cream, and we'd go out all day. So that's how I like my coffee. But the point was, when you're doing this sort of roasting, you have to turn the tube a little bit. And I have it slightly tilted to the exit. When the beans crack, they lose moisture, they increase in size. And when you turn the tube at a slight tilt, the dark beans tend to gravitate down towards the bottom of the tube and fall out into a bowl. I could go on about coffee, but I'll pass now. Let somebody else talk.
Okay, well, next up, I see Mark.
Hey, thanks, y'all. I appreciate being here. So it was interesting to see the email. About 22 years ago, I was introduced into Rotary through something called Rotaract, which is a college version of Rotary. And since then, I fell in love with service. I think my first year as a Rotarian, I did about 110 projects, so a little overboard, but it was fun. I did anything from well drilling in South Sudan to milking soy in Colombia to you name it. And what I found out through Rotary is if I could get donors to put their money in, I'd do the work. And so for every dollar you get in Rotary, you can turn it into $7 pretty quick through their grants. And I took advantage of that as much as I could. So uh, after about 15 years in Rotary, I had kids and ruined everything. So I found myself looking at my time and debating whether or not I should keep doing things that made me feel good to save lives or spend time with my family. So took a break from Rotary for a while. But I was happy to see this email. Solar cooking hit my heart in a project with a fellow Rotarian in Kenya, where he introduced me to some of the work he was doing with solar cooking. And it was a bubble wrap with double-sided mylar, aka attic insulation at Home Depot. It was a pot that was wrapped in a piece of plastic, clear plastic, which lifted the pot off the ground. And so, as a mathematician, I wanted to know what the heck is making this thing heat up. So I started doing some research and I wrote down everything I needed for a rotary project. It's got to be cheap, it's got to be sustainable, it's got to be useful, it's got to be easy to ship, cheap to ship, all of everything you can imagine. I tried to think of it. And I also looked at, from a mathematical standpoint, what's the highest potential heat you can get from a solar? And it was a parabola, right? I couldn't find a cheap enough way to make a parabola. I needed it to be around $1 to $3. So that attic insulation made a lot of sense. And at one point in time, I was out of work in Coronado at the beach, and I thought, heck, let's try out some designs. So I started making a couple, started testing different ways that the race can hit off, and I think I landed on one. So I submitted it to Solar Cooking. It's called the Kirkcook, KIRKCOOK. And I haven't seen anyone out there that's been able to beat the time given the cost and how much it would cost to ship. So I'm interested in what y'all have been doing and very excited to be in this group.
Well, glad you could sign in, and that must have been Roger Haynes because that sounds like his cooker that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's interesting. Roger and he brought me in on the project, but we had different motives for working on it. So we separated ways and he ended up utilizing his cooker on the project.
Sure, sure. But to mention rotaries, though, I know that probably every fourth or fifth person out of almost 150 I interviewed for my channel, they had some connection with rotaries where they either learned about solar cooking or worked on a project with solar cookers overseas. A lot of support from rotaries to help further the cause. So I always try to make
I've seen a lot of cardboard and foil going to different places. I'll tell you that much.
yeah, yeah, you use what's there, right? So
It's true.
yeah. Okay, well, at the last and hardly least, Mary, if you're still there, Mary is also on my channel with her partner in crime, Jennifer Gasser, down there in Hubbard, Ohio, the Music Man town, I call it.
Okay. Why do you call it that?
It's a nice town.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. That maybe we were singing when you were here. I don't remember. Okay. Hi, everybody. Well, I'm not really a maker of ovens, so we'll start with that. But I have great interest in sharing what makers do. So just a little bit of background, I'm a retired educator and I got involved with solar cooking in the mid 90s when I was teaching a science class, my science students about energy concepts. And I came across, something in our textbook about someone who had solar cooked a pizza, and we all thought that was just the coolest thing ever. So we thought we'd give it a try, and one thing led to another. And 15 years later, we were still doing our solar cooking unit, and it had grown from, just a little kind of demo thing to a 2-week project that involved pretty much all the other teachers in a real cooperative way, like the math teacher and the social studies teacher and the art teacher and the reading teacher. So when I retired, I quit working for pay and began work, picked up where I left off, and I just couldn't let go. Somebody mentioned being addicted, and it's so true. Like, I just could not let go of that whole idea of teaching kids and letting them share in that excitement, because it was just it was probably the highlight of the year. And, the kids always came in asking, are we going to do solar ovens this year? So that was like their first question, first day of school. So, so I don't make ovens, but we do, we work on curriculum. And our most recent project, I've been working with our partners in Haiti, remotely, of course, and just trying to work with the teachers in creating activities and lessons, really simple lessons that align with the Haitian curriculum. We're starting with grade 1 and embedding some of those activities into what's already there that they're used to teaching. And just having them kind of take the lead in that, so that so the kids can learn energy concepts and solar cooking, and things that'll help them understand it better. And then I just finished up Matteo Muccioli. Somebody mentioned him. I finished up his Global Maker video. We have the Global Maker project. So I could post the link to that. I literally just finished it the other day.
Oh, yes.
I'll put the link to that in the chat. So, and then we have a Global Maker. We're either going to do it the 19th or the 24th with Didika Odhiambo from Kenya on his energy saving stove. So he'll be our guest. So I guess I'm not a maker of ovens, but I sure love the creativity of the people who are, and just love to promote it.
Well, and what is the status of the book that you guys put together, you and Jennifer put together?
We put that on our website, and anyone can download it. It's there for anyone to use for educational purposes. So, and then we've done smaller versions in French and in Haitian Creole, so that our partners can use it in Haiti. But the big version, the big granddaddy, is in English only, and it's on the website.
Great. Everyone check it out. You're putting your website in the chat.
Yeah, I can do that, and I'll put the link to Matteo's. That was a challenge.
Yes.
Very fast Italian speaking directions. But I edited, you'd be proud of me, Luther, from 41 minutes down to about 16.
Oh no! Wow. Whew.
Yeah. I think I did good. So thanks for inviting me to this group. I mean, maybe we have some global makers that would want to do a step-by-step process, how they make their ovens or how they make their products.
Yeah, there's an interesting project we had with latrines where we found out the instructions being step by step were less easy for certain populations to follow. However, if you would overlay those instructions with transparent pictures showing the next step over the last step, they seem to be more receptive. So maybe we can work on some of that.
I remember those from school. Those were one of my favorite things, like the bodies, and you'd like put the one on top of the other, and the body organs would appear, and very cool.
Wow. Well, and that's great that you open it up. Anyone can download it. It's what 120 pages, give or take.
Yeah, it was COVID project, Luther.
Yeah, yeah. But very thorough and science with the focus on how solar cooking illustrates so many principles of science and physics and so forth. And that's so important to get into the camel's nose in the educational tent, I suppose you could say, if
Right.
teachers can grab that thing and put it to use, that will just make so much, so many tracks, as they say. So yeah, and also it's a kind of a testament to was it Crosby Menzies? He says, "I'm a copy left guy. I'm not a copyright guy. I'm a copy left
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Open source materials. Just let everyone have it.
Let him
Make
have
use
it.
of it."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think this is great. And what I want to do is, as I promised, Jane and Segi Sigaran, they're in York, England. Segi himself is from Sri Lanka, and he's been very much interested in renewable energy and so forth for decades. And they have their own company where they make a collapsible rocket stove. I have that in my shelves, my collection. And they have put together a nice short, it's just short of 10 minutes long, a video on haybox cooking. And it reminds me of my visit with Megan Smith out in near Spokane, Washington, who has put together her own company where she will send you what she calls her Wonder Oven. It's a lot like the Wonder Bag. It's a bag with polystyrene pellets in it, so really high insulation value, sewn together with a real colorful cloth, and then a pillow. You just put your pot in there, drawstring with the pillow, and the thing will cook for 8, 10 hours after that. But anyway, this one is just the basics, but it's exactly the kind of thing I think we need to see more of out there. There goes.
After many years of running Haybox workshops, we thought it about time we made a video. So here it is. Enjoy. What is a haybox? It's an insulated box in which you place your partly cooked food. The heat held in the food and the pot completes the cooking without any external heat input. Haybox cookers are so called because the early versions used hay as insulation. It is also referred to as thermal, fireless, or retained heat cooking. Any food that's cooked by simmering, like stews, rice, and curries, can be haybox cooked. Haybox cooking was used during the First World War to conserve precious fuel. It was first recorded as being used in the early 19th century, with the inventor Carl von Drais being credited with coming up with a novel design. Using a haybox can easily save up to 50% of the energy required to cook food. This is because, instead of the heat from a saucepan being lost, it is trapped by the insulation and used to heat and cook the food. With food left cooking in a haybox, there is no need to reheat food. It is ready steaming hot when you need it. It works like a slow cooker, without any external heat input. Sometimes, food needs to be left to simmer on a low heat. This has to be frequently checked, and the food stirred, to prevent burning. With a haybox, there is no risk of this. The food can be left unattended till it is needed. Slow cooking in a haybox retains much of the flavors and nutrients in food. The thickness of the insulation needs to be between 5 and 10 centimeters, depending on the quality. Cast iron or cast aluminium pots, as shown here, are ideal for haybox cooking. It's important that the pot used has a tight-fitting lid to reduce heat loss. Don't forget to heat the lid, along with the pot and food. The pot needs to be at least 3/4 full of food to keep the food temperature above 70 degrees Celsius after 3 hours. Use the right size pot for the amount of food being cooked. It's a good idea to wrap the pot in a towel before putting it into the haybox. This will help keep the lid on tight. The towel also acts as oven gloves when taking the pot out of the haybox cooker. If there is room, you can put 2 pots together in one haybox cooker. Always boil for a few minutes with the lid on. No peeping. Don't be tempted to check on the cooking by opening the haybox until you are ready to eat. While experimenting and getting familiar with haybox cooking, a thermometer will be very useful. The one shown here has a long lead, which allows the probe to be immersed in the food, while the display can be kept on top of the cooker. This table shows the difference between a well-made haybox cooker and a poorly constructed one. After 3 hours, the temperature difference between them could be as much as 16 degrees centigrade. Prevent bacterial growth, food must not be kept between 9 and 62 degrees C for more than 2 hours. In a well-constructed haybox, it will take more than 4 hours for the temperature to drop to below 65 degrees C. When food is left for longer periods, or when cooking meat, always thoroughly reheat before serving. The haybox cooker is easily made at home, using a container and some insulation. For example, a plastic crate, wicker basket, storage cube, cardboard box, or even a kitchen drawer can be used as a container. Old sleeping bags, sheep's wool, towels, pillows, dry straw or hay, scrunched up newspaper, kapok, and packaging chips are all examples of suitable insulating material. Here you can see a very simple haybox, made with items we had round the house: large towels, sleeping bag, and a storage crate. The sleeping bag is spread out to line the inside of the crate. The towel is useful in holding the pot and lid together, providing extra insulation, as well as serving as oven gloves. It also protects the sleeping bag from spills and cooking odors. Finally, wrap the sleeping bag around the top of the pot before popping the lid on. This storage crate is big enough to hold 2 pots side by side. For example, rice and curry, or stew and potatoes. This design of haybox is popular in East Africa, where it is generally referred to as fireless cooking. You will need a large wicker basket, some colorful material, and insulation. We line the base and sides of the basket with the insulation from the cut-up sleeping bag. A large piece of the colorful cloth is placed on top of this, with the cooking pot sat in the middle. A black ribbon is tied onto the outside over the cloth to hold it in place. The cushion to go on top is covered with the same colorful material. This wicker basket cooker was fun to make and looks good in any kitchen. We often put a weight on top of the cushion to keep it in place and show others that it's in use. This wooden haybox cooker can double up as a stool in a kitchen. It used scrunched up newspaper as insulation. You can even make a haybox cooker in a spare kitchen drawer. The Wonder Bag comes in a variety of lovely colors and uses polystyrene beads for insulation. This is probably the best known commercially available haybox. It is designed and manufactured in South Africa. The Wonderbox and Wondercube are budget haybox cookers that are available from SF Innovations. They are supplied as flat pack kits, with the customer providing the insulation. Here are a sample of dishes that have been cooked in a haybox thermal cooker. Following on are some recipes for you to try. If you would like more, Have a look on the SF Innovations website. Wash the rice. Add 1.5 measures of water to a measure of rice. Bring to boil in a suitable pot with the lid on. Remove from the heat and place in the hay box. The rice will be cooked perfectly in an hour, but will keep hot for up to 4 hours if left untouched in the hay box cooker. Soak them overnight in cold water. Drain and cover with fresh water. Bring to the boil. Roll boil for 10 to 15 minutes, with the lid on. Remove from the heat and place in hay box. The chickpeas will be cooked in around 3 hours. Note that this method can be used for most dried beans. Here are the ingredients for making Boston baked beans. Heat the oil in the saucepan and fry the onions for a few minutes, then add the garlic and stir. Add the rest of the ingredients and bring the mixture to the boil with the lid on. Add a little water or stock if necessary. Keep the liquid below the level of the beans, as it does not want to be too runny. Season to taste. Remove from the heat, wrap in a towel, and place in the hay box. The dish will be ready after about 2 hours and will keep hot up to 4 hours. To summarize, hay box cooking saves energy, keeps food piping hot for hours without burning, and retains vital nutrients. Hay box cookers are simple to make, with items found around the house.
Well, hope you enjoyed that video. Do get in touch if you need any help. Happy cooking.
There's a link in the chat. And yeah, I will do that. So, any questions or thoughts? Actually, before that, show of hands, how many of you have done haybox cooking? Okay, it's I mentioned at the start that I didn't learn about it really. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't remember it until it came up in one of the solar cooking discussions. But my grandmother in Grand Forks, North Dakota, in the '60s, where we lived in Cooperstown, about 2.5 hours from their place. And when we would get together at our place for like Easter or Christmas, she would make a big beef stew or whatever, just a huge stew, and put the pot in on top of 2 or 3 blankets, and then just roll the blankets around and put it in the trunk of their car. Made sure it was nudged off to the side so it wouldn't spill. And they'd leave maybe at noon, get to our place by 3, and we wouldn't even eat till 5, but it was still steaming hot.
I
And the
love
beef,
it.
oh, it was the best. The beef stew the beef would be like jello. I mean, it was so tender. So, but anyway, so I interrupted someone someone started to say something.
Yeah.
Craig, yeah.
I want to go back to the large parabolic that I spoke of, and getting my pressure cooker up to steam. After it's up to steam, I put it in my little hay box, and it just fits perfectly in there snugly. But I also found that after the pressure cooker is up to steam, I have a little 15-pound chunk of iron that's about 4 inches by 5 inches with a little hook on it. So I put that on the focal point of the parabolic, and in short order I mean like maybe less than an hour probably, I've been able to hit 600 degrees with this chunk of iron. So my future thoughts are to make a slightly taller hay box, get this 600-degree chunk of iron put in the bottom of it, and then try cooking on it above. And I'm thinking it might be possible to even make bread in it. So that's just a thought out there if anybody wants to explore that. That little parabolic is so wonderful for, apparently they'll hit 1,000 degrees or more.
Hey, Craig. It's
Yes.
Mary.
Hi.
They're actually bread recipes in
I got one of the old, I can't find it right now, cookbooks for hay box. But they do make bread in the hay boxes. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I can email you that or share it with you on Facebook.
Great. Sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I've never
I
tried
think
it. And I do have a basket that I use, but I use it mostly for soups and things like that, and rice and beans. But I'd love to see if you're successful at it. That would be great.
Oh, I'll share
Love
it.
to see it.
Luther sent me a video machine, so I'm going to learn how to use it and hopefully upload some projects.
Just some cheap used cell phone cameras, but they're like 4 or 5 years old. But it was the Pixels that had 4K cameras. You get up to 4K, and so. But speaking of eBay, I pulled up, and I'll share this. I'm gonna share this screen again. Make sure I get it right again this time. That is the. Where's it show? Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you see the duplex cooker, the big green box?
Yes.
Yeah, I forget who posted about this on the World Network maybe a year ago, and I thought, I had heard about these, and I've got these fancy alert searches on eBay for any new solar cooker because, of course, I collect them, and I want to know if there's a ancient model out there that's available on eBay. So I looked this up, and it's like, and this one's current. I got mine for about the same price, and I don't know if it shows it. But inside it was designed so that under that lid, they actually had two granite discs of about an inch thick. Because I got another model that just had one, and it came with the stones. And those stones, back when they made these, you would put them on your wood stove and heat them up all the way. And then whenever you cooked, as soon as you're done, you put the one stone on the bottom of the cylinder there, and then put the pot in, and then put the other stone on top of that, and then close the lid, and it sealed it up. It's ingenious, and I mean these should be made today. When if people really want to save on energy costs, well, this is the ticket. But anyway, so that's a model I have. One other quick thing I'll share. I think I can find this. Oh, get this. See if we can. Here we go. I'll turn off the sound because I don't remember if I have sound here. This is a hay box I put together from a crate that the cooker's on the right, the Sun Dish from Millen Kulkarni. It came in that crate. And so I was wondering, what am I going to do with this crate? It's really nice. It has these nice metal handles and wheels. And so I finally said, well, let's turn it into a hay box. And there's Millen's cooker on the right. It hangs out a window. Well, so here I am opening up my hay box from that crate that I eventually made. And what I did was I used it for displays where the top I used chalkboard paint, so I could put like a menu on, or like it was a community garden event. I'd say here's what the community is doing to grow vegetables, or at a farmer's market. But what I did was, you can see where this is a halfway through the process where I just lined little spaces that fit the big pots that I used in parabolics. And in this case, I was able to put it in the central one to get it started to figure out, is this going to work? And sure enough, it worked. And I'm going to pause here real quick. If I can move back slightly. These yellow pads, pillows, those are spaces that I set up to hold canning jars, doing the Joe Radabow thing with rice and beans. And as soon as they're piping hot, boiling, I would put them in their little slot. I don't know if I ever actually opened it up later for this. No, that's about it. But anyway, so it's along the lines of what Jane talked about in the video, that something around the house, rags, that's all really good insulation. And so we have a surplus of rags, so I put them to use with this thing. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. And I'll
Luther,
stop. Yes.
Luther, did I got booted off for a second? I don't know how that happened, but
Oh,
did you say you bought one of those old antique baskets?
Yes,
Or,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, the duplex number 30, which has the
Yeah,
two, and the what I didn't know it when I got it. I just opened up and I said, "Oh well, it doesn't come with the pots, so I'll have to find pots that fit somehow." But I wasn't worried. But then I found out later that they had those granite stones that you
yeah.
heat wood stove first, and then that adds a little extra mass, heated up mass.
I have a cast iron, like that you put on a stove to distribute the heat better. It's just a
Sure.
disc. And
Yeah.
I put that in with mine.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I get that nice and hot, and yeah, oh man, I'm jealous. I've been eyeing those boxes. They're beautiful. Some of them are
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
Well, that one, it's only 175, cheap at half the price. My uncle.
Yeah, without shipping though, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it says here. Or best offer.
There we go.
Oh, it's only 60 miles. Oh, it's over 60 miles from my zip code, it says. I don't know. You never know where they are.
I was going to say, Craig, on your 1,000-degree parabola, I think I've done that before with some mac and cheese, and it came out a little crunchy.
Oh yeah.
But it was on a stove, and I think it was in college.
They get pretty hot.
Well, here's the one that also came up on the search, the ideal Toledo fireless cooker. I mean, this was a big deal back then. There were many different companies that made these things, and this one was just inside a really nice, it looks like an oak cabinet. And there's the granite disc that I got in the single cook pot one. It was number 0, duplex number 0, and then the number 30. It didn't come with them, but uh, there you go. Anyway, so they're out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
that oak one was the one that I saw some of those. They're beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Checking those out. Yeah.
yeah.
And I even sent the pictures of those to Camely because he
Oh
makes
yeah,
those beautiful box ovens, and I'm like, you could do this too. This could be like another version of, what you sell. So
sure,
he never
sure.
took me up on it though.
Well, we all
Yeah.
have. If he's like me, I've got 37 projects of 49,
Right.
none of which are completed.
Right.
I just want to say that I've been doing a little bit of work with small PV panels and resistive heat elements, and they will fit in the bottom of a hay box or heat box, and it will extend the cooking time, and it can also help keep the temperature up probably longer. It's just preliminary stuff. I've used nichrome wire. I've used cement resistors. And those what are those PTC elements now that you can get? They have them in different voltages. 12 volts is a pretty common one, and they even make a 5-volt one. But if you have sunlight and you're using your box cooker, you can kick it up a few degrees by using the free energy from a parabolic panel.
Sure. Well, we have just joining us a familiar face from, I think, Saturday and a couple others, and well, probably a dozen other Zoom calls that we've both been on.
All right. So yeah, we had rain, which I'm very pleased with
Ah,
because we had fires within 5 miles of us. So yeah.
oh, no. Yeah. All the way down to San Diego, huh?
Yeah, just right up in La Jolla, when you go up
Oh,
the hill. Yeah, north of us.
Yeah, we had some in Chula Vista too.
You did too. Oh, okay. Well, I had a friend that was down in Bonita, actually got a notice to leave. Because I guess the fires down in Campo were probably.
Yep.
wow.
Yeah, so that was strange.
Rain is good. Rain is good.
Oh, I love rain. Yes.
Well, Sharon, introduce yourself. We've already had our clockwise rotation where everyone's been able to do that so far, but with your freshly having joined us, tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm just a lady that's been solar cooking since about 1975. And I started my solar cooking adventure by taking a metal class in 79 and building, one of those Telcus or Teclis, whatever her name is, an oven like that, which I used for a while. And then it was on the ground. The glass got broke. So I went on and I made like 25 different cardboard models, whatever I could find. Because back then you were lucky to find one book in a library somewheres, or, it was really, really hard to get information. And so I found that the Solar Cookers International had all the information that was available back in the 70s, and just started making them in the 90s and up into like the early 2000s. I would say by 2006, I had probably done the 25, just trying all kinds of different ones. And Luther came by and did a visit. So if you want to reference anything that I do, that kind of shows it. And I was the inventor of the Copenhagen solar cooker. And so, yeah, for many years, we actually had a solar cooking group around here. And, we'd go out and do things. But I've thought of, regrouping and doing that again. But, yeah, it's a lot of work to get people together.
No, been there at least, I think, twice. Well, and then of course they had
Yeah,
the meeting at Rogers last.
that's right. Yeah.
But twice, the thing I like to say is I have the notoriety of having collected commercial models for 20 years, and I've got way too many. But I got room for them, so I keep getting them. But Sharon will have just about anyone beat for DIY solar cooking models. I don't remember the Sharon. I don't know if it was the first time I was there, where you had that Fresnel reflector up with a stick in place where it was smoldering.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and you were nowhere to be found. And I thought, well, we should make that the traditional welcoming thing, as you enter under the Bar X Ranch thing, as welcoming anyone to the solar cooking place. It was so symbolic. Anyway, it was wonderful. Um, yeah, man, we must well, we did two videos of
Yeah.
sharing stuff, and we could always, and we'll always be ready to do more. Just an FYI, some of you know this already, but my wife Jo should be retiring this spring, and we hope to get a van and kind of do the van life thing and visit everyone we already have visited, plus people that I have not yet visited to do a video of what they've been doing, and anything about solar cooking. I mean, the retained heat stuff and so forth. So look for me to brighten your door. Probably next fall, we'll probably have that van outfitted. And I got some expert advice from Tom Yates there, who knows the stuff inside and out. Anyway, so uh, brace yourself. About 15 pixel cameras and an LG and a Sony, and um, well, no, we won't want for camera angles. But anyway, any other thoughts on the fireless cookers, the Haybasket?
I found a book that I was mentioned.
Just got mine from Amazon too.
The Fireless Cookbook, Margaret Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Craig said you wanted to do bread. I don't know. Do you have that cookbook? Because there's a number of bread recipes in there. So
I missed the name of it.
it's called the Fireless Cookbook. Here, I'll wait. I don't know. Can you see me?
Yes.
Wait a second. I'll put the book in front of my face. Wait a minute.
Okay. All right.
It's
I'll
Margaret
that.
Mitchell, the Fireless Cookbook. This is an old one. It's a new edition of, but this has to be, I don't know when it was originally written.
All right.
1909.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's a new
A long,
one.
long time ago.
Yeah, they just put out a new one. I just saw it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Which looks
Mary, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
It's kind of odd you mentioned bread, because I'm going through my library and I've got about 25 bread books here I'm trying to give away to people in the community that want to start making their own bread. I think it's a nice time in history to start learning to make our own stuff. So I will look that book up. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I pulled it up while we were talking there. There's several, actually some of the old copies for quite a pretty penny because it's a classic. The one says it was 1911, but there's
Wow.
also the new one that is only about $15, but a brand new printing. So
That's what I got. The
yeah,
newer
yep,
one.
yep.
But I just saw one with color pictures and everything, which confused me. I haven't bought it yet. And so I think somebody did a current, redo of it because they actually had full color pictures and, a full color book. But they're going to say the same thing as they did in 1909. It
Food
worked.
doesn't change.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to express my appreciation to everyone who's in this. You all seem like a bunch of doers, and your efforts are translated into a lot of real good projects throughout the world. So it was nice meeting y'all. I gotta leave right now, but
Nice to meet
I
Joe.
hope to
Maybe.
be involved next time you're in San Diego or anywhere I'd come meet you. So appreciate what you do.
Well, me and Roger and Jim are all here in San Diego. So,
All right then.
there's three of us that are here. And you can always see us on the Solar Cookers World Network. And it's Roger Haynes and Jim LaJoy and myself. And so, yeah, we would welcome a new solar cooker in our group.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
Nice
Yeah,
meeting you, Mark.
Nice meeting you.
And
Bye-bye.
what I've done with the manufacturers group, I'll do for you guys too, is everyone that was able to make it on Saturday, a lot of them, like you guys, I've got videos on my channel, and like Dave Henry there, I've got to wrap up your video and put that up. If only a rough draft, so you can see what he's got going. The one photo I used on the posting on DIY included his cooker with the kind of the half barrel type thing. Um, but anyway, and then I'll put links to what you got. If you haven't got me a link showing your stuff, send me your link. Otherwise, I think I have it. Like I got Craig's not so secret Solar Institute of Northern Nevada website. Sharon's, of course. I'll put the link to Andy's, my video with Andy up there in Washington, and Tom and Mary. So you'll be able to watch what everyone else is doing. Um, and I can't think of anything else to say. There's so much out there. And if you get on the solarcooking.fandom.com, or the alternative is solarcooking.org, you will see all this stuff, including I had just pulled up Mark Kirkpatrick, who just left his Kirk Ook cooker. And it's kind of a variation on the Cook It, with a little more of a curve to it. So it's going to be more of a kind of little parabolic shape to it. You'll find it on there if you just look up Kirk Ook, KIRK hyphen OOK. And
Oh, oh, okay.
yeah. And in August, September, probably we'll be doing, when Joe and I hit the road, we'll probably be up in Canada first when it's still reasonable temperatures, and then head down into the San Diego area again, of course, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, when the temperatures are cooler. So we'll let you know when that is underway. Um, anything else anyone wants to share with the group?
Oh, I did come up with a new cover for using in the solar cooker. I found, those the graniteware pans that we use. Everybody has them.
Sure.
Kind of like the roaster. So I found a wire basket that it fits perfectly over it, and then I take what do you call it, the slow cooker liner, and it's the plastic, it's the same as the oven bag, but it's about yay deep, so I inverted over that, and I was able to tuck it under the pan, and we're going to test it tomorrow if the sun comes out. And see how good that does for making the greenhouse effect, because that would be so simple. Just throw a bag over, or, the little wire basket and over the pan. So yeah, that was
Yeah. Okay. Well, unless there's anything else, we'll let you all get back to your lives. And as you know, it's been recorded, and the one on Saturday was too. And I'm going to put them both up once I just edit out some glitches and so forth, and then you'll be able to see what everyone said on Saturday too. It was a really lively discussion, just like we just had now. So that's great. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Luther.
Nice
Thank you.
meeting everybody.
Yes.
okay.
Dave.
Good seeing y'all.
Bye bye.
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 So,
Once we go to board.